Hi there, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. I wanted to give you an update on why my channel has been quiet for the last couple of weeks. Well, my oldest graduated high school a couple of weeks ago and we had family in town, lots of it in fact. That's not all. My amazing son made the decision several months back to enlist in the Army. The military doesn't like to waste a lot of time, so they gave us a few days after his graduation. He took his oath given by his father, which was very special, and he shipped out yesterday. As you can imagine, I was simply soaking up as much time with him as I could possibly get. So please excuse my absence. I'm sure many of you can understand, and a few of you have probably even been there yourselves. So to combat my sadness, I plan to jump back into the craft cave and get to crafting. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to show you the contents of the My Monthly Hero Arts May 2018 kit, which is sold out, and the contents aren't sold separately, but at least this way you can see what I'm working with. Now this set was called the Tree of Life, at least that's what I think they're calling this set, and it's a beautiful set with lots of branches, a really bold trunk, and lots of silhouette images and sentiments. It also comes with the dies, coordinating dies, and a tree swing window fancy die, which I think is beautiful, and I'm sure I'll use that many times. It also comes with some washi tape, and I'll show you what that looks like here. You can never have enough washi tape, right? I must have like probably 25 rolls. I use it for all kinds of stuff. It also comes with those skeleton leaves and a what are they calling that? The tree background stencil. And then it also comes with some watercolor paper panels. For the first card I made using this kit, I grabbed some 110-pound Kansan XL watercolor paper, and I decided I wanted to do some ink blending with my Distress Oxide inks. So I masked off part of the card with Post-it tape, trying to line that up as straight as possible using my grid that I can sort of see underneath my craft mat. So I've grabbed the colors Twisted Citron, Cracked Pistachio, and Blueprint Sketch. Again, those are Distress Oxide inks. And I grabbed these because I knew that they would just blend so creamy and smooth without a whole lot of effort. And I just love the matte finish that they give, a little bit of a chalky look. So I started off with the Twisted Citron, and then I'm going to blend that into my Cracked Pistachio. I'm not sure why I grabbed these colors. I just thought, boy, those sure look pretty together. There was really no rhyme or reason. Just liked it. So then I grabbed my Blueprint Sketch for the top, kind of almost trying to make this look like a sort of like a scene in the background with the grass fading into the sky. I guess that's probably why I chose it. But as you can see, they blend so nicely. And so I'm just going to keep blending until I get the look that I want, going back and forth using those colors. And when I'm done, I grab my Distress watercolor sprayer and I spritz some water on it, and I let it sit for a bit, and then I'm going to wipe it up with my paper towel roll. I have found this is actually a really easy way to sop up that extra water. To stamp my images, I grab out my stamp platform and place my panel in it. I want to stamp a tree on there. And now I ended up stamping my trunk and branches with the Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, which probably wasn't the best choice, and you're going to see why. Because anywhere that the ink overlapped the Oxide inks, it looked faded. So I ink up my branch and I stamp it down, and I can tell right away, But I'm going to be honest with you, I started this at 4 in the morning. So I thought, like last time, if you've watched any of my videos, a 4 a.m. craft fest was going to be a good idea. Well, not this time. I actually originally had stamped over that with a different ink, and it just didn't work. So I thought, well, I'm just going to go with this and I'll fix it later. So as you can see, I'm just going to go through and stamp out my branches. And to stamp all those branches, I ended up using the key that came on the card that was with the Tree of Life stamp. It makes it really easy to stamp out all those branches. It kind of takes the guesswork out of where the branches should go. Although you could stamp, whatever you want. Your trees can be your trees. I just preferred to use the key that came with it because I just really liked the look of the tree that they had on there. So I'll go through and I'll continue to stamp, and as you can see, it's still Doesn't matter, it's faded anywhere it touches the Oxide inks. I'm not sure the reasoning for that. I guess it's just the different formulas that the inks are made of. And I stamp them twice to make sure it's a good solid, as solid of an image as I can get. And then I end up stamping the other side as well, but I don't show you that because it's just the same process. Using that key and stamping that down. And so to fix the tree so that it doesn't look so faded in there, I've grabbed my Faber-Castell black Pitt pen marker, which is waterproof and permanent when it's dry. It's great for mixed media. It's great for all kinds of projects. I love using mine. I really like the different choices that you have, because there's not just black. There's lots of different colors that Faber-Castell makes. And as you can see, I'm just going over the branches just to make them more solid. And when I go to stamp my sentiment, I end up using the same Lawn Fawn jet black ink to stamp that down. I figured, well, might as well, because any of the other black inks that I had I wasn't impressed with, so that's why I use that. And then I decide to put use some foam tape to give my panel some dimension, and that'll end up finishing off the first card. For the second card I make, I decided to do some ink smushing with some Blueprint Sketch Distress Oxide ink and a piece of old packaging. And basically with that, it's nice because you can bring it directly to your card base, which happens to be another piece of 110-pound Canson XL watercolor paper. And this is a standard A2 card that when folded measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And I decided to do a little bit more ink smushing with some Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide. And actually pay no attention to that die cut that you see that is green. That is from the Tree Swing Window Fancy die. I've cut that out and I actually embossed that with a couple different embossing powders. And as you can see, or you're going to see, I keep trying to bring it over to my panel just to see how it's going to look. And I really don't like it. So I don't use it. I'm not impressed with it. I mean, I like the dye, I just don't like what I did with it. So again, I spritzed my background with some water and then I dabbed that up. And because I don't like the way that looks, I decide to die cut the image 4 times out of some black cardstock from my stash. And I layer those with some Ranger Multi-Medium Matte Gel because I want this to be fairly thick. That's why I did 4 of them. I want it to be basically like a chipboard image. I'm not sure why, just like the look of it. It gives it some dimension, some interest, and that die is so pretty. Like I said, I started at 4 in the morning, and it just did not, this craft session was not my time. I didn't plan to get up at 4, I just had so much on my mind that I thought, I'll get up and craft. Well, my mind was just too fluttered with other things to make it work, so that's where we have using that die 4 different times again to get something different. Anyway, now I like that so much better. So I grabbed my Mini Misty to be able to stamp the sentiment, and I'm going to grab that Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink to stamp it out. And then I remembered that it would be faded. So I went ahead and stamped it anyway. And then once I stamped it, realized, oh, it's not going to give me what I need. So I chose to grab my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, which is a pigment ink that makes it great for embossing because it stays wet a little bit longer. And I pull that out and I use my Stampin' Up! Fine Detail Black embossing powder, which I don't know if they make that anymore, but that's what I have in my stash, so that's what I used. And then I used a small brush to wipe away any excess powder. And then once I'm happy with that, I will heat that with my heat tool until it's melted. Now, because that die cut is like chipboard, I grab my Simon Says Stamp Craft Tacky Glue. And now that I know how to store it, which is upside down, I love this stuff. It's great. It will definitely keep stuff in place. And it's got a pretty fine tip applicator, so it works out pretty nicely there too. And then after I've got all the glue in the different places that I want it, I'm going to place that down and put a block on it while I clean up. So that's going to finish off my second card. Thanks again for understanding why I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I've got plans for this channel, so hit that like button on this video and subscribe so that you don't miss anything. And as always, thanks for stopping by.